A very good morning and a warm welcome to one and all present over here, teachers. I hope you're able to hear and see me clearly. And yes, I can see that. Thank you so much for joining on another Super Sunday workshop. And this time we are going to touch one of the most important documents released by the Ministry of Education called as National Curriculum Framework 2023, and all the academics that's related to the running of a particular school, the development of a particular child, the vision of a particular country. Everything is slated or is concised in this particular document called as National Curriculum Framework. There are a lot of process that generally people undergo when planning for any task. It could be buying a house or planning for the month's budget, or it could be anything. As an individual, we go through a certain steps of writing those, right? Some of them even plan what to be cooked for every meal, and during this particular process we are writing all these things in a manner where that's directly related to our priorities and interests and what we expect out of our own life. It's like, I want to be a very disciplined person in my life. I would like to achieve a certain level of goal at this particular age. So we've got all these things happening in the form of writing. Now what's really interesting is right after that you also have, while writing this, during this particular process, I want to be happy. During this particular process, I want to gain the aspect of critical thinking. During this particular process, I would also like to touch on my hobbies a little bit during my busy schedule. So you try to touch your emotions as well. The point here is, when at an individual level we start planning things for our future, for the betterment of our life, our lifestyle in that case, just imagine the plight of Indian education system. So this is the plan that they have come, not directly from looking at the country from the top perspective. No, it has started within ourselves. And that's the beauty of this particular document called as National Curriculum Framework 2023. It's one of the best documents that you can ever read, and it's quite elaborate. It's so elaborate, and it has been divided into so much of different decomposed factors that one session is definitely not enough to get into all the aspects of National Curriculum Framework 2023. So for that, we are planning with multiple parts. This is part one that we're getting into, where we will be focusing on what was running on in the minds of people while making the policies, and how did it boil down to what exactly is supposed to be done in the classroom. So it's like from policy to the content, something like that. From policy to the implementation, something like that. So let's understand what we are actually getting into. And I would like to break down this particular document into multiple factors according to my understanding. And I would like to use the actual National Curriculum Framework 2023 as a reference, and I would like to show the PDF multiple times throughout in the next 40-45 minutes, rather than getting insights about NCF 2023 from other people's perspectives. I would also like to recommend all the teachers out there to start exploring NCF 2023 by reading the document yourself. It's not like the document that used to be there in the past. This is well organized. And when you start reading it, initially, probably 5 or 6 pages, you might feel that this is kind of boring because the things are getting repeated multiple times. But over the period of time, like right after 10th or 11th page, you will get a very good hang of it. And I'm saying this because when I saw multiple YouTube videos on National Curriculum Framework 2023, there were a lot of opinions that were brought out by people expressing it. Like, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. Acha hua ye aaya, abhi bacche ye kar sakte hain. Bad that they did not allow this. So really don't want any teachers out there to be opinionated, at least during the process of looking into the framework document, because end of the day, you like it or not, this is getting implemented. So to understand the essence of the whole document, it's going to be a tough job to read a 628 pages document, but let's begin it somewhere. And I would be more like acting a summary for each of these parts in every Super Sunday workshop, the following Super Sunday workshops. So let's directly get on with the subject, and I would like to share the screen by showing you the actual presentation. So National Curriculum Framework 2023 is one of the documents out of 4 national curriculum frameworks. This is something that I would like to tell you as a brief history. So there is this person called as Kasturi Rangan. No, Dr. Kasturirangan, Sri Kasturirangan, who was in ISRO for quite a long time, and he created something called as NSC, National Steering Committee, under which there were multiple national curriculum frameworks created. I think you know that there are four national curriculum framework created according to the current NEP. The first one is called as National Curriculum Framework Foundational Stage. I think some of you know about it, right? Where it was released in the year 2022 itself, and it focused on the domains of development and a lot of other factors which we're going to discuss today also. The second document is National Curriculum Framework 2023 School Education. Now that is what we are getting into right now. School education, this particular document includes foundational stage also, but foundational stage is so elaborate. They talk about early childhood care and education as well in that, ECCE. So they have kept that as a separate document as well. So I would consider this to be the second document. The third document is called as National Curriculum Framework. You will not believe this. This is teacher education. And even for the teachers, where they're coming up with standards for teacher. Okay, Vasudevan is a teacher. These are the standards that he's supposed to have, and it is mandatory. So what are these? Let's wait and explore in some other Super Sunday workshop. The fourth document is National Curriculum Framework Adult Education. It's like the graduation, post-graduation, and what are the rules and regulations over there and things like that. So these are the four documents under National Steering Committee, coming into picture, called as National Curriculum Framework. So rather than having one National Curriculum Framework, which used to be there in 2005, based on which everything was getting derived, right now they have detailed it so much that anyone out there can, come up with some kind of a pattern, understand what's happening in their respective area in a detailed manner. There's a lot of detailing done. Let's go with the first step. So whenever we sit for a particular policy, these are some of the major aspects that we need to cover. So for this, let me actually show you the actual document. Okay, so this particular document, which you can see right now, which is National Curriculum Framework 2023, 628-page document, they have got something called as Part A approach. So what exactly is the approach are we supposed to adopt for the current requirement? Now, what is this current requirement? How did the government come to this conclusion? We will look into that also. Then part B is about school subjects and areas, like for each and every, okay, by mistake, somebody's annotating. That's okay. For each and every, okay, for each and every, stage of curricular areas. Now, what is curricular areas? We'll talk into that as well. What are the subjects and areas that the students will be covering? So this time they've planned for some 8 curricular areas, and which includes humanities as well, language education, social and like social science education, arts education, vocational education. Now, what are they talking about? We'll talk about that later. The third component is part C, which is cross-cutting themes related to values, inclusion, information and communication, guidance, and all these things. We are going to touch about it. Then part D, school culture processes. That's more oriented from leadership perspective. And then part E, creating a supporting ecosystem. So these are the categorization under which the whole document is presented to us. Now, in this particular session, we might touch only part A, which is going to be the approach. So what is the science behind making of this document? What is expected out of a particular teacher? And then probably in the further weeks, we'll get into part B, part C, part D, and part E. Probably part D and E, I might combine considering the importance given to it. Importance is huge, but it's written in a very simple manner. And most of these are already getting followed in many schools. So just because there is a term, Sunita ma'am, you can download this from internet actually. So just because some of the terms are completely new to us, doesn't mean that we are not doing all these things. For example, they say that inquiry-based learning is very important according to NEP 2020 for competency-based education. Now, inquiry-based learning is the way of asking a question to someone and getting a response out of the students, and they learn during this process. You are already doing that, right? But now there is a special emphasis on that. That's it. Project-based learning is another important terminology used in NEP multiple times, where they talk about art integration, internal assessments, and various stuff. Project-based learning, it's not that you are not doing it. You are already doing that. But there is a special emphasis given right now. So the point is, what are those key areas where the special emphasis is given? Rather than trying to include random pedagogies multiple times by a teacher, let's stick focused to all the areas or all the stages of school education. The stages are foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage, and the secondary stage. So how did it all come into existence? Let's go with the PPT for that. So here in this case, yeah. So this is a nice thing about NCF, which I really like this. Uh, Let me stop share the screen for a second, teachers. Now, suppose you're living in a particular community, okay, in a particular maybe a gated society, or a place where multiple houses are there. The moment there is a power cut in your particular house, what do we generally do? Either we go and check the mains if there is a fuse that has got disabled, or is it tripped or something like that. The second thing, immediate thing, which I remember very well, is we go and check the neighbors, like do they have the power connection or not. And there is a subtle happiness over there if even they don't have. I don't know, you can't deny that. But anyways, the point here is, when you go and check the neighbors out there, and there is a child who is present in a particular home, and he's finding this power outages multiple times in his house, and he's checking if it is there in the nearby house. Now, when you keep on checking and expanding this process, you check if it is there in the community or not, and based on that you try to come to a conclusion that probably this particular community does not have, but there are chances that the neighboring community also might not have, and you try to explore on the reason for that as well. When you expand this, whenever there is a problem in a particular area or for an individual, that is just not an individual problem, it's a community problem. And when you expand on that, multiple communities put together forms a general society. And once a society gets formed out there, there is a very big need for the society to correct that particular problem or to solve that particular problem. So they come up with an idea, let us try to solve this. This particular society that we are talking about, when they are put together, it might form a city. Multiple cities put together might form a state, and multiple states put together might form a country. My point over here is, this particular national curriculum framework is completely based on the society's requirement, which in accumulation became a country's requirement. And that is why, according to the national education policy, this particular document or national curriculum framework or the new education system is going to be based on Indian ethos. They found that the requirement in the current Indian education system is just not about, uh, you know, uh, 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 just not about a world political system or the world history, or the globalization aspect. It's more to do with our Indian roots and culture and tradition. Why are our curriculum not focused on that? So keeping that as a primary point, based on the requirement of a country, this is what is required right now. We have got an amazing system of mathematics. We had got a lot of techniques to learn maths. That's why we call that as a Vedic maths. Or when we talk about language as an art. India is one country where the oldest of languages originated. Maybe it may be Sanskrit or may it be Tamil for that matter. And in fact, this national curriculum framework document has referred Tamil inscriptions multiple times. In fact, they even mention about Tiruvalluvar at 2 or 3 places, saying that 2000 years back we had a very strong foundation for an amazing education system. And this particular document of NCF 2023 is heavily inspired by that. So this is something that I want to, establish right in the beginning itself. So the vision of NEP is from the traditions and the cultures that we had been following, and suddenly some westernization happened, and we've got multiple jargons coming into picture. So today we are going to talk about few jargons that are completely Indian. What are these? Let's get into it. I would like to share my screen one more time. And here we go. So the first one was vision of society. I hope you're able to understand why the vision of society came into picture. The requirement of a particular society or a particular place may not be always the same. Just imagine the society that's present in Finland or America or Russia or Britain. Their requirements are different, but in India, our requirement is completely different. NEP is based on that. Then vision of education is written down. Again, that's an NEP document. Based on these two documents, next comes something called as aims of school education. So when there is something happening under the area of an actual adulthood lifestyle, there is an unemployment crisis, there's poverty happening out there. Even after so many efforts taken by the government of India, still there are some problems that are not even met, including electricity, or for that matter, internet has reached few places, but electricity has not. So to that extent, when we talk about it, so what should happen in the school education in order to solve that? So that's how they have come up with aims of school education. A nice document, we'll see that. Then desirable values and dispositions, capacities, and knowledge. Now, this is something very important. You remember, we always talk about something called as anytime when we learn something, there are three things associated with it. We talk about knowledge, skills, and attitude. That is exactly what they're talking about. See, they have mentioned values and dispositions, which are attitude, capacities, which are skills, and knowledge. So here, what's really fascinating about this is they've not started with knowledge. This time they've started with values and dispositions. So they're giving priority to moral value, a lot of things. Let me not start about that right now. We're going to go further in the document. And finally, based on desirable values, dispositions, and capacities and knowledge, curricular areas and culture and processes are defined. So first two documents, or the vision, is about NEP. And right after that, we have got something called as NCF document, talking about all the policies and how it is supposed to be in the form of content. Let's go forward. Let's go forward. Great. So vision of NEP 2020, the overarching vision of India is articulated in the Constitution of India. Drawing from this vision of India, the vision and purpose of education is articulated as below. Watch this. This is very important. This national education policy envisions an education system rooted in Indian ethos. I think now you're able to connect. That contributes directly to transforming India, that is Bharat, sustainably into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society, which it is already present right now, by providing high quality education to all and thereby making India a global knowledge superpower. Now, this is already there. In fact, Indians are ruling in multiple angles in different countries across, but still, that's what we aspire to. It's in a very small margin. And when we talk about this particular, the way it can get executed, we need to touch the three areas of knowledge, capacities, and values and dispositions. How? In this particular manner. Look at this. So whenever we talk about the history of India from education perspective, there was one very good history book that we had in which they talk about Pramana. I think you know Pramana. Pramana is basically the proof or the evidence or something. So here in this case, you have got Pramana divided into 6 types, or else indirectly, if Sarvesh Kumar sir is learning something or acquiring certain knowledge, it can happen in 6 ways. What are the sources of knowledge? The first one is called as Pratyaksha. And based on Pratyaksha, your lessons could be planned. Second is Anumana. So based on Anumana, your lessons could be sorry. So each of them have got a separate meaning, and I would like to highlight that. When we talk about Pratyaksha, it is basically the direct experience of a certain activity with which you learn something. We also call that as experiential learning. And it can be further divided into, they say that Anubhava, which is direct perception, and Smriti, which is remembered perception. So you can acquire a particular knowledge by doing something, and we call that as experiential learning. Rather than calling it as experiential learning, next time, how about we call this is Pratyaksha that you're doing. Somewhere we are trying to get connected to our roots. Second is Anumana. Here also there is some level of experience, but look at the way it is based on the observation and you conclude something. You're not actively involved. You're able to perceive things. There is an experience happening around you with which you are able to conclude something. I'm really sorry. I'm not giving you an example of each of these in this session, but we'll get into the details in further sessions. Then Upamana is all about, suppose if you do not, understand certain things, what you do with the children is you come up with an analogy. Just like the way human beings have sense organs, artificial intelligence has got sensors. Now there is an analogy that is created. Students might not know what AI is or robotics is all about, but when there is a comparison which is more like an analogy, which is called as upamana. Now this is with respect to the third way or source of knowledge. And next is it's arthapatti. It's arthapatti, which actually talks about knowing through circumstantial implication. For example, I'll give one very so this was there in the document also. So Devdatta is a fat boy. Okay, listen to this. Devdatta is a fat boy. Devdatta does not eat food during the day. Are you able to understand? Devdatta is a fat boy, and Devdatta does not eat food during the day. Indirectly, it is communicating to me. These are the only two statements present, but indirectly, it is communicating to me that Devdatta eats during the night time. That is why he's a fat boy. So here you are acquiring the knowledge because of some kind of a circumstantial implication. Arthapatti, amazing, right? I never thought it'll have a so detailed definition, and there's so much research on that. You'll be surprised with the next one, which is called as anupalabdhi. Now, anupalabdhi is a perception of non-existence. Let's see this. For example, there is someone coming to your home, and typically in an Indian system, we have our own wells, right? Kuwa, it's like well. In Tamil, we call it scanner, right? So you actually have this well, and somebody's coming to your home, and they're coming and seeing that there's no water in the well. Indirectly, it is communicating a message that this person knows that the well consists of water. So the well consisting of water is a knowledge aspect. To make it more simplified, I'll come up with a better example. The jar is full of water. The jar full of water is not present over here, or there is no jar over here, or something like that. You just go to a hotel and there's a table. Generally, the jars are kept, but now it is not there. Indirectly, it is conveying a message that earlier jar used to be present over there. So non-existence ka jo realization hai, that is coming under anupalabdhi. And finally, shabda, which is shabda basically written words. So in some systems of knowledge, the testimony of an expert. There are so many experts out there who have written, lot of books about various subjects. It could be science or social science for that matter, languages, and we follow them, right? We follow them just like that. There are holy books written in various languages. We follow them. We don't really require an evidence to follow them. So that is coming from Shabda knowledge. And you keep on referencing them at many times. There are many judgments that have been made, especially in movies and all, getting inferences from Mahabharata and things like that. So Mahabharata is more like a book, which is Shabda, and you're trying to get inferences. That's it. This Pramana, sources of knowledge, I really wanted to talk about because when you talk about the base of national curriculum framework, putting all these things is giving us as a clarity that there has been so much of a research gone behind before writing whatever they are writing in the further chapters. So that is the reason I wanted to play this. Let's go further. Let's go further. So this is important. So what exactly is the aim of our school education? Okay, now that we know that we have this much of knowledge and this is what NEP talks about, but what are those things that the child should acquire through this particular education or through this particular national curriculum framework? So they have got something called as rational thought and autonomy. Any subject or any discipline or any curricular area a child is getting exposed to, they need to acquire the skill of thinking little different, rational thought. Autonomy is about coming to a conclusion within the data that they already have, or they learn something and based on that they come to a decision. Autonomy of, like, you don't really depend on someone to do something. That's amazing. Second is health and well-being. Lot of importance. This also includes emotions. That's a detailed document. Democratic participation. Now, democratic participation is interesting because when we talk about government of India, even now there are so many children out there who don't really understand the whole structure of government. Why the people are given the maximum power? What do you mean by democracy? So to talk about all these things, the children need to get down on the field and understand how democracy actually works. So this is one of the intention or aim of school education and national curriculum framework. Economic participation talks about various initiatives taken by government of India to increase or develop the economy of India. It could be entrepreneurship. It could be usage of materials that are produced in India, make in India, and things like that. That's economic participation. Cultural and social participation, to be rooted with all our festivals, to be rooted with our own cultures and tradition. Also, know and realize that there's a lot of diversities, but still there is a lot of discipline in respecting each diversity. Now that's what this particular document talks about. If any social science teacher is out there who's really interested in people, the way they behave, the way they dress up, the way they talk, if you love any other language apart from your mother tongue, cultural and social participation is a very good elaborate document which we might not get into the details in this particular session. I would request you to go through. A society with individuals who are healthy, knowledgeable, with capacities and values and disposition to participate effectively and meaningfully in a democracy, economy, and culture would be a vibrant, pluralistic, and democratic knowledge society. This is the aim of our school education according to the national curriculum framework. Got it? Let's go forward. Now look at the way the gradually we are getting into the details. First was the policy. No. First was the society, uska intention. Then we came up with the policy that is written on the constitution. Then we understood the sources of knowledge. Then we understood what the child should acquire. But this is the area through which, or the pathway through which, that goal will be achieved. And this time, there are 8 curricular areas under which the whole national curriculum framework is made. It's not 5 subjects or 6 subjects anymore. And they're not even calling that a subject. It's called as curricular area, essential courses, curricular area, essential courses. And then you have something called as mm, disciplines. Thank you so much. There's something called as disciplines, essential area, curricular goals, curricular areas, essential courses, disciplines, and then you have got competencies, and one by one these terminologies are used. So rather than talking about subject, it's not really advisable for any teacher out there to come from subject point of view while reading this document. Try to come out of it, and then this document will be better understood. So languages, mathematics, science, social science. Okay, these 4 were always there. But what are the addition? Arts, interdisciplinary areas, physical education, vocational education. You know what, teachers? This arts, interdisciplinary areas, physical education, vocational education used to be called as in various names. For example, extracurricular activities, ECA. Then it became co-curricular activities. It has to be, similar. And then it became after school activity or post school activity. Multiple things happened. But according to National Curriculum Framework, all of these are treated in the same level. The children have the ability to choose one of these to learn under a certain category. We'll talk about that also. Let's go forward. So these are the 8 curricular areas that we need to know about before getting on into National Curriculum Framework, the detailed document. What's really nice about this is in the document they have given equal importance to all of this. You can see this is the school subjects or areas, and you can see that language education, the chapter 2, mathematics education, science education, social science education, arts, interdisciplinary, physical, vocational. हर एक 8 curricular area को कैसे करना है, how are we supposed to execute them, they have given individually, which we will be discussing in the next Super Sunday workshop. I hope you're getting the connect. Let's go further. Let's go further. And for that, I would like to go back here. Okay. So the next rule, this is more like a summary and it's not as clear, but I've taken directly from the NCF 2023. Vision of society, vision and purpose of education, which is NEP 2020. So society say NEP 2020. Wahan se National Curriculum Framework. And from National Curriculum Framework, it is the actual curriculum that talks about knowledge, capacities, and values and dispositions. And what is that curriculum that is talking about? 8 areas: language, mathematics, science, social science, arts, interdisciplinary areas, physical education, and vocational education. And each of these curricular areas will have their own aim, their own curricular goal, their own competency, and their own learning outcome. That's it. That's it. So this forms the basis of, or this forms the structure of NCF 2023. This will come till around approximately, I think, 45 to 50 pages. So when you come to 50th page, you will get a realization that end of the day, they're talking about this particular structure. And right after that, each and every page is going to be a breakup of or detailing about the first 50 pages. If you have understood till this particular point, I think it'll be very easy for you to complete the further document. Let's go further. Let's get into the details of it. Another 15 minutes maximum, and I would like to take it really slow. If there is any particular doubt on a particular curricular area, you can, no, there is no structure mentioned in the document. You need to create that structure. While reading the document, it automatically subconsciously gets created, ma'am. So don't worry about it. So if there is any particular area, any doubts or any queries, you can put it on the reflection form that's coming on the chat. And also, in case any school is requiring a separate session on NEP 2020 or National Curriculum Framework, do let me know. We could have an elaborate session on this, probably 2 hours with some hands-on activities on respective subjects. Think about it. We could do it. But anyways, I'll be covering all of these even in Super Sunday workshop up to a large extent. Let's go forward, teachers. Let's go forward. So now that we have understood the structure so far, let's go forward and understand what is the intention in the next document. So according to our NEP document or NEP plan in 2019 se lekar, they came up with this idea of multiple categorization. Now NCF 2005 was 10 plus 2. Only 2 categorization, right? Jiski wajah se, whenever a document was getting made, it was common for a grade 1 student and even a grade 10 student. Of course, we had separate small documents talking about primary education, secondary education, but they were not really at policy level. But when it becomes at policy level, things become more serious. the document of target becomes even more elaborate and detailed. That's what has happened. So according to the school stages, while some of you might already know about it, I would like to repeat it. We've got foundational stage, which is a 5 years, but it's starting from 3 years. I mean, when the child is like 2 or 3 years, and it's like 3 years of Anganwadi, which is called as preschool, plus 2 years in primary schools in grades 1 and 2. Back in my days, we used to have something called as nursery, lower KG, upper KG, grade 1 and 2. So we have had that. It's just that it has become very official right now, and a separate documentation is happening for that. That's it. Let's go forward. So then we have preparatory stage, grades 3 to 5, covering ages 8 to 11. Middle stage, grades 6 to 8, covering ages 11 to 14, and secondary stage. In this way, once the categorization has happened, based on the age category, there was a lot of consultation that has happened with the Ministry of Education, with the Department of Pediatrics, or with the Department of Medicine, where they're talking about something amazing called as developmental stages or milestones of development. You Google about milestones of development, you will get multiple documents, but there'll be multiple documents talking about parenting. So parenting may the way of parenting at infancy is different. The way of parenting and adolescence is completely different. So if parenting ke liye you have all those things, just imagine the importance of the same document in NCF 2023. That is why they came up with this particular thing. Whenever the child is developing, they have got three processes that are happening by itself. This is called as biological process, cognitive process, and socio-emotional processes. These are happening by itself. You do it or not, they're happening it. When you do something towards that, you're kind of nurturing it. But even if you do not, the experiences of human birth up till they cross a certain age will develop all these processes in one way or the other. So basically, biological process include genetic and epigenetic factors and material conditions that have an important child's body, such as traits inherited from parents, development of brain, height and weight, completely biological. Then you have got the cognitive process, which is changes in a child's thought, intelligence, and language. Then this is completely from thinking perspectives, brain related. Then you have something called as a socio-emotional process, which is the way they communicate, the way they talk to the other people, like changes in an individual's relationship, changes in emotions, and changes in personality. The way our parents brought us up, I mean the way we are there today, maybe there is an influence of the kind of families we used to be in. For example, when I was quite young, we used to live in a joint family system. Then things have had to become nuclear because something amazing developed called as globalization. People started traveling from one place to another in search of a job, for better lifestyle and things like that. And today, joint family system is more like an uncomfortable situation. It has become like that. So the way we were brought up cannot be the same the way we are going to bring up our children. So that is where they talk about these three processes, and each and every process is happening across the development in these areas. The first one is called as infancy, which is up to 2 years. The second is called as early childhood, 3 to 7 years. The third is called as middle to late childhood, 7 to 11 years, and adolescence generally from 12 to 19 years. Each and every word that I'm writing over here is completely from the document teachers. You will be getting this document on internet. You just have to type National Curriculum Framework 2023, Ministry of Education website open karo, and you'll get the 628 pages document, which will look like this. That's it. So when I click on this, okay, come on. Yeah. So infancy, early childhood, middle to late, adolescence, and this is the age category. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll repeat it. This is very important because I'm going to connect all of these things one by one. Once we have understood the separate stages, foundation, preparatory, middle, and secondary, this was done by NEP 2020. What was the reason? The reason was the child is going through multiple processes of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional under different age categories. Infancy alag hai, early childhood alag hai, middle to late, and adolescence are all different. So my addressal of infancy children are going to be different. Addressal of early childhood is going to be different. And in order to make things different, I had that foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary. I think now you're able to understand why the categorization. This is as per NCF 2023. And now they also came up with something called as Panchakosha. Panchakosha is domains of development. And that is present in National Curriculum Framework foundational stage and even in this particular document. Under that, they say that a particular child is developing in the areas of physical development, cognitive development. Physical, the bodily structure; cognitive is the brain; language, they speak multiple language; socio-emotional development, and moral development. But what is really catchy over here is physical development under infancy is completely different from physical development in early childhood, completely different from middle to late and adolescence. The point is, physical development in each of these are addressed separately in the document. What should a teacher do in order to have a proper physical development for a particular child under each of these? That's how the document is written. I'll show you. Cognitive development under infancy, under early childhood, under middle, under adolescence. Language development under each of this. Let's go through one of them just to get an idea. Oh, I'm sorry. Just go through one of them to get an idea. Okay, so here we go. Okay, child development, we saw the biological process. And okay, physical development. So for example, cognitive development, if I take that, you can see that for infancy it's different. Let's quickly read it, in a short format, so that you get a hang of what is exactly written. So children construct their own cognitive worlds, building mental structures to adapt to the world. They actively construct their meaning and understanding based on their experiences. The progression of cognitive development from infancy to adolescence can be seen described below. Look at infancy, that's really cute. The infant organizes and coordinates. Infant means 0 to 2 years. Okay, the infant organizes and coordinates sensory experiences. For the first time, they're able to taste something. You would have played with your children by probably squeezing a small lemon, and you would have seen the facial reactions, or a kiwi fruit for that matter, anything that's little tangy and things like that, and you love that expression. And we trouble them like anything, such as seeing and hearing with physical movements. Yeah, so they quickly learn and are able to understand that things, they continue to exist even though these things are no longer around them. For example, I have my laptop present over here. Even if this laptop is not present over here, I will have an ability to understand that there is this laptop present somewhere else. It's kept somewhere else. The existence, that realization at that age is very difficult, and they've done a good job. They can scan patterns actively and display growing capacity for remembering in ways that current neuroscience is still exploring. And based on these explorations, there are multiple methods of child development that have come into picture, including Montessori. In fact, even if you go to a good pediatrician right now, they'll say that do not buy electronic toys to the children. Try to buy that are indigenous in nature. That means they perform an activity because of some mechanism, and let the children see those mechanisms and experience it by visualization. That will give better cognitive development than anything else. This is infancy. Now we go to the next one called as early childhood. The child's mental life is becoming more expansive with experience. They have pictures in their minds about various things in the world, their capacity for new vocabulary, blah, blah, blah. Then middle childhood, by now the child can think through reasons using language and ideas. Then adolescence, mein what exactly happens. So this is how for cognitive development, they've written for all the age category. Once you know what exactly is happening in each of these category, don't you think that your approach to each and every class is going to be different? Yeah. So for example, Sukhdira ma'am's way of teaching in grade 2 is going to be completely different from the way you teach a grade 10 child. Why? Because of so and so reasons. So I would like to show you moral development also once. It's quite small and I liked it. So moral development, infancy mein kya hota hai? The sense of right and wrong depends on their feelings and desires. Their sense of rightness depends on whether they need some met or not. For example, if you try to feed a child, you feed Cerelac for that matter, the child is able to take up everything. Okay. But unfortunately, when right after Cerelac, if you try to give ragi or something without sugar or without salt, do you really think the child is going to start shouting like anything? Probably 7 or 8 months or probably 1 year. And this particular place, the child will say that your mom is wrong because my desire is not met. Well, mom was actually not wrong. Mother was not wrong over there. So infancy may the dependence of right and wrong is directly dependent on your need satisfaction, the child's need basically. Similarly, in early childhood, they think that rules and justice are constant. It is nobody can change it. That's how you control them, right? If you make noise, then you'll not get to watch the TV or you'll not get the mobile phone, something like that. And they believe that, unfortunately, early childhood. But when they come to middle childhood, they know you're lying. So children begin to express objective ideas on fairness. Even after completing 1 hour of studies, if a parent does not give the mobile phone, the students will come and say that this is not fair, especially grade 6 7 children. And just because they're cute, you give the phones. Well, let's not do that. But the point is, adolescence is even more difficult. Closer to adulthood, children begin to develop their own moral values while questioning and analyzing the ones that are set by the parents or the society. You would have seen that the children, especially in grade 9 and 10, they form their own rules. And this happens because of their experience in infancy, early childhood, and middle childhood. That is why they say that whenever a child is behaving very good at infancy, need not become good or behave good in middle stage. And again, need not be a good boy or a girl in adolescence. Now, when we say good and bad, it's quite subjective in nature. But my point here is they need not be the same. A parent expecting a child, you might say that, "Tu bachpan mein kitna acha ladka tha. You used to be such a disciplined boy. Now you are so bad. You're pathetic." We say that, right? I've got that multiple times from my teachers. Well, that's because that cannot be the same because of all the developments that are happening put together. Okay, like Santa comes to distribute. Yeah, that's amazing. That's a good point. Okay, let's continue further. That's it. So this particular thing with respect to domains of development, look at the way they're connecting domains of development, getting connected to stages of child development, getting connected to school stages. So this is how the next stage happens. The pehla document tha where they talk about the vision, the policies, how they are getting made. Second, categorization about what are the curricular what are the curricular areas that are supposed to be targeted according to different age category. What are the different age category? Foundational, middle, preparatory, middle, and secondary, and based on the domains of development. That is why NCF 2023 is so elaborate and so big. And when you talk about all of these things in each of these curricular areas, what is a teacher supposed to do? This is the last thing that we're going to discuss right now. The teacher is supposed to look into designing the particular class. How? First is curricular structure. Whenever you're presenting a particular topic, depending on the age category, you have to modify it. So how to modify that? The document has given. For each and every subject, they've given it separately. What should be the content? NCRT is already making it. So the content is also kind of getting described. Pedagogy is the teaching learning strategies, which is present in the CBSE website, also present in this particular document. That is pedagogy. Fourth is assessment. We already know about it. One circular also already came into existence called as competency based assessment, and it will be able to identify something called as what the children do not know. You'll be able to identify the lacunas or the gaps that the children are not knowing based on carefully designing the distractors. That's coming under assessments. And there are different types of assessments. I think you know that. Simple MCQ and complex MCQ. And under complex MCQ, you have the category of multiple selection, and you've got assertion and reasoning. If you know more, you can put it on the chat. Then I think case based, there's something called a sequencing and ordering as well. And right after sequencing and ordering, I think multiple correct answers. These are competency based assessment type of questions. Yeah. Then comes classroom arrangement, and classroom arrangement this time is interesting. No bench to be treated first or last. I'll just say the statement and we'll talk about it in the next Sunday. No bench is supposed to be treated as first or last. Now, what do you mean by that? In further session. And finally, teachers. What as a teacher are you supposed to do? This is called as the stage design. That's it. So these are some of the actual intentions of National Curriculum Framework 2023 teachers. And right after this, they talk about secondary stage and they come to the primary stage as well, one by one. I'm not getting into the details of grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 right now because there are few things that are not so clearly mentioned over there, and I'm still in discussion with few people. Once I get an idea of what exactly they're talking about, I would be more confident to present, because some people are saying that it's going to be a semester pattern, which is mentioned in the document. Some people are saying that there will be 2 exams conducted, board exams, and one of the exams which has got better score is going to be considered. I did not see a direct statement written over here in this document. So what exactly are they referring to, and how do these people are talking about 2 exam pattern, select the best one? What is the reference? I did not personally experience it so far. So that is the reason I'm not talking about it in this session. But in the next session, you will get the complete clarity on secondary education as well. I hope everybody got an understanding of what exactly is happening right now, teachers. Yeah, I'll repeat about Priya ma'am assessment. Assessment is going to be on competency-based assessment. It's divided into simple and complex MCQ, and complex MCQ is further divided into multiple selection, assertion and reasoning, sequencing and ordering, case-based or source-based question, and multiple correct answers. Yeah. So these are some of the types. Okay, that's great. Thank you for putting it, ma'am, Shanti Srinivasan, ma'am. But see, this is a news excerpt, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't want to get carried away with what news is talking about, what newspapers are citing about. I would prefer to stick on to national curriculum framework and interpret it from only that perspective, rather than trusting the news channels and their articles. Yeah, so that's it, teachers. I would like to conclude over here, but before going, don't leave the call, don't leave the call. Before going forward, I have some announcement to make, just one or two of them. The first one is, there were many participants out there who showed a lot of interest in computer science curriculum. In the last week, I managed to do around 35-40 demos, but I could not accommodate more. So we have planned out a proper computer science curriculum demonstration of the whatever we have designed on Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Yeah, happy Teachers Day on that. So 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the evening. Within half an hour, I'll be able to tell you what exactly we have. And in that particular session, if you would like to participate and see what's present in our book, it's not a certification thing. It's just to show you what we have written and how we have written. If you would like to get insights about it, I would request you to please join Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Please fill up the reflection form for today. In that, the link for that particular session is also present. Yeah, this is the most important announcement that I wanted to make to everyone. So please join that particular session if you'd like to know more about the computer science curriculum that we are making. We can adopt it in the school. See, even if you're not taking the curriculum from us, it's totally fine, but you'll get a lot of insights on how to judge a particular book. So I would request you to join and get benefited out of it. Yeah, that's it. So from tomorrow onwards, CS Gem second batch is starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And it's going to happen for 4 weeks with 24 hours of engagement on the topics of computer science, especially for computer science teachers or people who are really interested in computer science, like coding, artificial intelligence, data science, and things like that. And it's a free training for 2 teachers from each school who can be nominated by the principal. So that particular announcement also, you can see it on our website. That's it. That's it. These are the two announcements that I wanted to make. So that's it from my side, teachers. It was great interacting with one and all on another Super Sunday. National Curriculum Framework is a very important document. Let's go as slowly as possible. Eventually, within the next 2 to 3 Super Sunday workshops, I'll make sure that you will be able to conduct hundreds of National Curriculum Framework 2023 sessions with other people. And do it. Please do it. That's it. Let's close for today, teachers. I'll meet you in the next Super Sunday workshop. It was amazing to see another 500 set of teachers all the time before 10 o'clock. Means a lot. Thank you so much. It's overwhelming. And I would continue to produce good content every Sunday. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, teachers. Bye, everyone. Sophia, ma'am, yes, you can join. Yeah, I just saw your query. Yes, you can join. Thank you so much. Babita, ma'am, thank you so much. Means a lot. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Audrita, ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sarita, ma'am. Happy Teachers Day to one and all. Oh, sure, Alo Mukherjee, sir. I can do that. I can do that. Archana, ma'am, yeah, we can get it. Please message me separately. You have my number, right? It's there in the reflection form. I'll call you and give you the link. Thank you, Dr. Amrita. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much, Sudhira, ma'am. You're able to find that. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Rajan, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Himlata, ma'am. Thank you, Jaya, ma'am. I love talking to teachers. So, yeah. Charanjit, ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you, Shubhamoy Paul, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, individual subject wise session will be planned for sure. We are already drafting the content for it. I'm personally writing on what exactly is supposed to be spoken based on the content that's present in our NCRT curriculum. So subject wise sessions are quickly going to come on Super Sunday workshops. Mrs. S. Arora, thank you so much. Means a lot. I hope they are benefiting. Cyril Jagan, you can please contact me. My number is there in the reflection form. I would like to talk to you, sir, so that we can get in touch and do the session. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Means a lot. Okay, Sujata ma'am, thank you so much. Happy Teachers Day, Tamanna ma'am. Oh, that's okay, Praveen sir. That's okay. That's okay. Kumari ma'am, I'm trying for regional languages. I've got few people for Hindi and Tamil for sure, but Telugu and Kannada I'm still searching. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. Political science as of now I did not consider because it's not part of the major curricular goals. So that next session when we talk about it, Mukherjee sir, you will get to understand what I'm intending to speak. Yeah, it is a part of humanities and it'll be there. Sure, Sumitra ma'am. Thank you. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Neha ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle Pereira. I like your name, by the way. Yeah. Vibha ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Komala ma'am. Yeah, Bengali has to be there. Being in Kolkata, yes. Thank you so much, teachers. I'll see you in the next Super Sunday workshop. Bye, everyone.